Disguise twist patterns like an airbrush, turning my mood like a bag of the devil's dust. No love but found lust in the darker spots, bar with the glots till the knock from the devil's touch. My eyes flickered like street lights, woke from a heavy night, my head full of dynamite, cyanide lungs, tight like my money ties, coughing up my chest like a silver tongue pack of lies. Just then, I fell back to earth, my head full of dirt and a pocket with a lack of worth. I built a burn, laid back, let my mind work, fractions of memories building from past words. Last night trading whispers in Danny's ear, he's like a brother, we've been boys from our first years. We're the same but he took risks I never did, walked the next route, the straight path, never got him shit. And I seen the way his world turns, his spins while mine just slowly burns. I need a favour, financially I can't maintain, bring me in and put a bit of money to my name. He paused hesitant and breathed deep in his chest, looking in his eyes I can see his thought process. As predicted he dealt me some wise words, you can earn but the bubble can be quick to burst. I know the deal, let me call you up tomorrow, licking off my beer to drown the last breath of sorrow. Now I'm laying here, tomorrow soon came, I rang him on the phone, said I still want a part to play. We spoke briefly but it's best face to face, so we plan to meet back in the pub at 8:30. I'm there early sipping coke and a Jim Beam, staring at the bubbles in the glass in a daydream. That second 20 minutes from the hour mark, Danny walks into the pub from the damp dark, gets a drink, sits down straight to business, tells me he could use a hand picking up a big bit. He's got a link with this brother at the ends on the north side of London where I lived with my ex. I moved back after 5 years in love, cause our hunger for the dust was much more than just lust. We got a deal, Danny's picking up a key, and there's no need to tick, he's got the cash that we need. I took a second, couldn't find air to breathe, it's the first deal I've done and I'm straight in the deep. I asked Danny about the brother who's supplying us, he assured me that it's someone we could truly trust. They worked together for the past 4 years, his name's Ray Scott, he pushes uncut gear. Bells ringing in my brain as he said his name, as Danny's talking but I couldn't quite place a face. Ah fuck it, he gives me the plan, in 2 days Monday we'll meet at his flat. On a casual type of thing, they got that neutral kind of trust. My heart pumps and my thoughts start to rush, slightly baffled asking Danny why he needs me. If you're that tight then the deal should be easy. He paused briefly, grinning looking back at me, he said we're brothers and you said you needed money. It's nothing deeper, help me flip it and you get a cut. 30-70 because he's fronting it, it's fair enough. Monday soon arrived like a figure in a mist, and the time in between almost didn't exist. Danny picked me up around 6:30, I drank a few shots till the nerves had deserted me. We arrived at Ray's flat an hour later, it looked worthy of a king built with blood-stained paper. Handshakes greeted us at the door, we walked through to the back and got a few drinks poured. Small talk, trading up back and forth, then we moved to the front for a second there I paused. On the sofa sat was my ex Sarah, still kinda bitter, acted like I've never met her. We all took a seat and spoke for 15, conversation then stopped like a sequence of dreams. It turned business, Danny brandishing the cash, then Sarah left the room and returned with a bag. I opened it, split a packet, took a boot up the nose. The shit was so clean, yo, my brain nearly froze. I cracked a smile, looked at Danny, said the deal was agreed. Took the bag off the table, put it down by my feet. Then Sarah leant in and started bagging the cash, looking over to Ray, asking if he wants to count that. He declined in an arrogant manner, took the bag off of Sarah, put it down by the sofa. Danny stood up, excused himself for a piss. I reached into my jacket, took a second to think. As he's walking out the door I jumped up to my feet, gripping on the 45 and threw my coat on the seat. He turned around, looked at me, what the fuck are you doing? This is money in the bank, there's no need to be stupid. As Ray's looking down the barrel of a gun, sitting there smirking, as relaxed as they come, he slowly stands up, staring into my eyes. He could see that I'm unable to take a man's life. A tear rolled down my cheek as he's demanding the gun. Apologise to the gods and pull the trigger back once. Ray's face can't bear an expression as Danny's on the floor with his chest blown open. He's breathing heavily, trying to fill his lungs. I told him sorry but it's money over love. Ray's silent in a state of confusion, like his mind was overcome by a string of illusions. I looked up at Sarah, stared straight in her eyes. I could feel my past love burning deep from inside. I couldn't take her life, I wasn't strong enough. I said go out the back and turn this day into dust. Let your words bear silence till your memories crush. She embraced me with a kiss and said she can't forget love. I turned round to Ray and held up the gun as the light shimmered shimmered off it like the glistening sun. Sarah walked out the room, I let the last two fly. The last vision that he saw was my cold dead eyes. I picked up the bags, can't explain how I felt. I sold the life of my boy for a bit of his wealth. I walked out the back to the light of the streets. I paused, took a breath, that fresh air felt sweet. Looking at the back gate as I'm bearing a grin. My whole world had turned around, the past hour I lived. I took my first steps, but I'm stopped in my tracks. I felt a nice cold burn straight into my back. Then repeated 5 times as I fell to the ground. Turned around, my cold body staring up at the clouds. Looking down at me was Sarah with a knife in her hands, saying love is just a weakness as she picked up the bags. I grinned at the irony, shedding a tear. Now my world had spun twice and could slowly disappear. She just stared for a couple of minutes as I'm glaring at the light from the infinite limits. Then the silence was broke as she whispered to me that her love was untrue and I was caught in a dream where I killed my best friends who moved planets for me. I guess the picture of love is an abstract piece, and greed stronger than I'd ever believed. Slowly drifting in scenes till my soul is relieved. In my quest to find dreams, saw a picture unfold of the ugliest people in a beautiful world.